Hello and welcome back to episode. I have absolutely no idea what this episode is, but this week's watches we're going to be diving into some awesome pieces from affordable entry level all the way up to absolute sophistication in watchmaking from a brand none other than Zenith and everything in between. I'm super excited about this episode. There's some really awesome pieces and a couple of personal favorites as always, because that's the joy of being able to curate the watches that come for sale. I've got to like them. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Now, before we start diving in, I want to say, as always, a huge thank you for another incredible week. From the last drop that you saw, almost all the pieces sold out by the time Sunday came around, which was incredible. We had a super busy Monday. I'm actually recording this on Tuesday, nice and early, so I've got the pieces because there's some interest in a few of the pieces here, so they may be gone as of the time of recording this video, but also just because I've got a busy few weeks ahead, which is another subject I want to quickly touch on. I get a lot of emails, a lot of messages, a lot of phone calls. Thank you very much. Keep those coming in. It keeps me nice and busy and I do appreciate it. But please just be aware over the next few weeks I might be a little quieter than usual, or might take a little longer to get back to your messages. The reason being, I'm currently in the process of moving house, and I'm very excited once all that's settled in. I'm going to have a proper home office. I've got a home office at the moment, but it's just a desk in the corner of the room, to be honest, whereas this is going to be a proper home office where I can do pretty much everything I can do here, there, and also I'll keep this space as well, so there's going to be two offices. So yeah, so bear with me on that one, but I'm excited once all that's done I can start recording with a different backdrop and also do these things there and obviously here. Now, I'm getting a lot of submissions of watches that people want to sell, so thank you, keep sending those in. If you do have a watch you want to sell, go to our website kibblewatches.co.uk. At the top there is a sell button, click on that and fill in the form. That's the easiest way. I get a lot of phone calls of people saying I've got this watch to sell, and they start telling me all the details, which is great. I know a fair few watches, but knowing every single watch, reference number, prices, you know, what age difference will make what price, off the top of my head is impossible, or at least for me it is. So it's easier if you just go through the website. It saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of the questions and the back and forth, so please just submit there and I'll get back to you usually within 24 to 48 hours. Again, please bear with me over the next few weeks because it might take a day extra, but I'm going to do my best, don't worry. If you get a reply, as some of you do at like 1 AM, don't be too shocked. Don't feel like you have to reply back at that time, but that's just how we go. Now, what is on wrist? A wrist check. Some of you keen-eyed out there would have probably already noticed, but this is the latest Omega Seamaster James Bond edition, the 007, No Time to Die, I believe is the name of the film and the nickname for the watch, on its titanium bracelet, mesh bracelet, really awesome faux patina with a broad arrow on the dial and military inscriptions in the back. This watch is actually coming soon, not this drop, but the next drop, so keep an eye out for that. If it makes it there, you know, a lot of you guys and girls do email me when you see what's on my wrist, and also keep an eye on Instagram because we showcase early as well. It's going to be the best price pre-owned reference on the model. It's a full set, and it's stunning. You know, I'm really enjoying this. I've only worn it in the office, because it's in incredible condition, only a couple of hairline scratches to the clasp. Other than that, I don't think there's a mark on the watch. So it gets worn for the shooting of the video and back in the safe it goes. So send over your inquiries on this one and let's see if we can get it gone before the drop. Now that that is all done, let's get into the exciting pieces on the table. We're going to have to start with my absolute favorites. And that is the Zenith. Starting with a watch I seriously love and wish I had the money to purchase right now. Wow, and wow. It is a gorgeous Zenith El Primero Chronomaster. The silver dial with its box and papers. And I mean, come on, triple calendar, chronograph, everything, moon phase, exactly what you'd want. And condition, as you can see, is stunning. And the reason being is fresh from a January 2021 Zenith service, and it comes with the guarantee card for that as well. So it's kind of the perfect package. A full box papers, mint condition because it's had the full works done by Zenith, a full service, which on a movement that complicated, you know, it's not a cheap thing to get done, and you can see all the workings in there. It is absolutely gorgeous. On its original Zenith bracelet, and you can obviously picture it on a brown leather strap. Personally is what I'd wear it on. Obviously the bracelet adds versatility as well, which is great, but let's talk specs and things. The reference is 020240 and the exact El Primero caliber is the 410, and the watch is from December 2002. So a really gorgeous watch. I mean, just look at the way that dial plays. this is a special piece. I mean, it's very difficult to put words on paper or say words that really encapture how beautiful and perfect this is. You got to go check it out on the website, see all the macros and everything, and you'll just understand why this kind of Zenith is probably some of the best value for money you can get in the chronograph world, especially when you consider, and again, I get asked why I don't talk prices in videos. It's because you know, prices change and people may watch this video in a year and think that's the now price, and it's just easier for you to go to the website, and if it's still available, great, you can see the price and purchase. But it's just under $4.3, so I'll say the price of this one because I think that is stupendous value for a full set that's fresh from its own brand service as well. Now let's talk dimensions. So here it is on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. It is beautifully proportioned at 40mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, so nice short lug to lug distance. Only 13mm thick, which really isn't thick considering the complication, and 20mm lugs. Very, very nice. I mean, just look at that on wrist. Really, really stunning. I have fallen in love with this watch, as you can probably tell. And I mean, if you are into watches, you will you'll definitely see why. I mean, just look at that movement for one, from a brand as prestigious as Zenith, that really does deserve its own rank. You know, I mean, historically very important. So go check this out on the website, otherwise I'm just going to ramble for hours about this. And you can see all the closer photos and everything like that, and most importantly, purchase this beauty. From Zenith to my second favourite on the table, it's got to be the Bulgari. It's no secret I love something a little bit quirky, a little bit different, and a little bit left field, which is why when I saw this Bulgari, I just had to have it. One, personally for a while, and I've been very fortunate to actually have enjoyed this for a couple of weeks before bringing it to market. But two, just to get cool watches like this in. I mean, not everyone's going to stock things like this, which is why I wanted to do it. Now, this is the Bulgari Diagono, and I'm probably absolutely butchering that pronunciation, so do forgive me. Chronograph automatic, the reference is CH40STA. Inside is the Bulgari caliber 080 TEET, TEET, which is basically a modified ETA chronograph module. You can see you've got, as they call them, the piggyback movement, so the crown is slightly off center to the pushers, indicating that as well without opening it up to see. But obviously we've had this watch serviced. It has a new crystal and it's been professionally refinished. You can see right there. It may have a few hairline scratches here and there because we didn't go absolutely crazy, and it was obviously a worn watch prior. Now the watch comes from August 2004 and is a full box and papers. It does come with a half link, so my wrist is 6 3/4. This fits me at 6 3/4, but it only has half a link extra, so that is something to keep in mind. Now let's get on to dimensions. Here it is on wrist. I like to wear my bracelet watches a tad bit loose, as you can see it's got a little bit of play, but it is beautifully proportioned, just like the Zenith was, at 40mm by 50mm lug to lug. Now that lug to lug is that outer bar protruding there. 11mm thick, so really, really thin, and 22mm lugs, but obviously you can't really change the lugs, it's this integrated bracelet. I really love this design. I think it's beautiful. I think that panda dial, or reverse panda, or whatever it would be, is stunning. The date down there is going to be a killer for some people, but I don't mind it at all, and I think it's really, really cool. Hidden clasp, as you can see, you got to really pull that, so don't be afraid with it. It sits in very, very securely. You can see solid case back there. Stunning watch, really, really nice, and go check it out on the website, see the macros, see the write-up, and it's very, very fairly priced for an automatic chronograph full set of this kind of design from a brand that is really doing incredible things. Granted, it's a jewelry brand, but they're taking waves in the watches as well, so don't diss the brand. From there to a brand that I always recommend to people, Oris. Oris, a historically important brand, and one that is always creating incredible things in my opinion and offering incredible watches at an affordable price point. Now granted, they're not cheap, but they're not crazy expensive for a Swiss brand. What we have here is one of my favorite offerings from them, the Oris 65 divers range, and this is the 40mm with the bronze bezel. Now the reference is incredibly long, so go check it out on the website. It does come on this vintage styled leather strap with its Oris buckle, as you can see. And importantly, this one is from October 2018 with its full box and paperwork. And obviously running fantastic. Inside is the automatic Sellita SW200, a very reliable offering that a lot of brands are choosing to use. You can see you've got that beautiful black dial, glossy black with the gilt surrounds and the hands with the loom. Really, really stunning watch. I think the Oris 65 range is one of my favourite vintage diver aesthetic ranges, especially in this size. Now, I don't mind the 42mm, we've had a few in, but for me the 40 wins all day long, which is what this is. Whilst we're talking about dimensions, let's show it on wrist. So here it is, 40mm by 48mm lug to lug. Really, really great proportions, wears beautifully. 13mm thick, so not thick at all, and 20mm lug width. So endless options, though the pairing it comes on factory is really, really nice, and this is a very nice thick leather strap that just suits the watch really well, especially with that bronze bezel. I mean, the way that patinas over time is great, and it goes very nicely with the gold on the inside of the dial. Great offering, really, really a lot of value for your money. Go check it out on the website for full details. From there, a stunning vintage Omega Seamaster Cosmic. It's vintage Omega time, and we haven't really got many vintage watches in this drop, so I'm very excited to bring this one because it is one of the nicest examples I have seen of this reference. So this is a 1969 Omega Seamaster Cosmic automatic day date, as you can see. The reference is 166036. So these Cosmics, as you may know, are monocoque, meaning everything comes out of the front of the watch, so there's no actual removable case back, so it's all one solid piece of stainless steel, which is kind of cool. It's got its Omega sign crown over there, and the movement on this is the automatic Omega caliber 752, which is the first position of the crown is to change the time, and the second position is you pull it all the way out and it pops the date to progress. So let's show pop like that, pop like that. Now, as always, make sure you are not in sort of 9 PM to 3 AM time, so always go around to change the time to make sure before you start playing around with the dates. You don't want to affect that. Really beautiful slate grey dial with that blue outer rim. As I said, the dial and the whole condition of this is stunning. I don't believe it's ever been polished, in my personal and professional opinion. The bracelet is an original Omega beads of rice, as you can see. Really, really nice condition, nice size as well, so let's show it on wrist. Now, this bracelet, as you can see, is a big bracelet, and this is on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, so you've definitely got a fair bit of room, which is always nice to have a bracelet this size. So the watch, as I said, from 1969, the dimensions are 35.5mm by 39mm lug to lug, so quite a short case, and the way they wear is very sort of like wide but not very long, if that makes sense. 11mm thick and 19mm lug, so a little bit awkward on the lug width, but as you can see, it comes on the bracelet, so you can always wear it on this, or alternatively get a nice 19mm strap, and there you go, you can see the way that plays with the lights. Now, the crystal is an original Omega crystal. It's got the little etched Omega logo right in the center, which is always nice on these models. So go check it out. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with this, and the price is incredibly fair considering condition, so go check it out. Next up, a stunning limited edition Seiko. Who doesn't like a limited edition Seiko, especially when it looks this good? This is the Sakura Fubuki limited edition, which comes with a very nice box as well, and it comes with that. As you can see on the dial, you might be wondering what is going on. There's lots of hands. Is that a GMT or something? No, it's not a GMT. You've got the date down there in the sub dial, and this is a power reserve. So as I wind, you will see that progress, filling up the power. So let's go sort of past there. You can see it's filling up, filling up. So you have an indication of how much power you have left, which is a nice feature to have and an interesting place to put it as well. You can see exhibition case back as well, which is always nice. Whilst not a huge deal for me personally, because I feel like the Seiko movements are incredibly reliable and very, very good. They're not particularly beautiful. So, I mean, it wouldn't bother me if they stopped doing those, to be honest. Now, the reference is the SSA 363, and it's from 2019. Really, really good offering. Very, very affordable for what you get as well, and they're really nice. It does come on its original strap with its original deployment buckle, which we've flipped around to the right way because Seikos are shipped on the reverse, as are certain Protect for Leaps and things like that. For multiple reasons, but the reason I hear the most is in Japanese culture. And certain Asian cultures as well, it's deemed more aggressive to have this because if you wear it on this wrist, that would poke out the top. It's deemed aggressive towards the people you're facing, so it's always better to have it poking towards you instead. That's the reason I've heard. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have heard down in the comments. Let's talk dimensions. I really like this watch on wrist. I think it looks great. 40mm by 47mm lug to lug. You can tell I curate these watches because I choose things that I quite like and would wear myself. 15mm thick and 20mm lugs, nice and convenient for strap changing and choosing whichever one you'd prefer. But there you go, really interesting dial. We'll have had some macros on screen, no doubt, of that dial because I think that's the great selling point. And obviously the box is kind of cool as well, but you don't wear the box, so definitely buy the watch. Go check it out. And we're nearing the end, but next a watch I've nicknamed, and I'm sure many have, the Seiko Yachtmaster. Our first 2021 watch. Everything else has been 2020 and before. This is a awesome new offering from Seiko. I actually purchased it for myself and have enjoyed it for a while, but I'll be very honest, I haven't worn it sort of at all. And as I said in my previous video, I have a new watch incoming for me personally, so I thought I would let this go on to the next happy person for less than I paid for it, for pretty much a brand new watch. So it's from February 2020. It's part of the new Seiko 5 collection, and you can see it's got this awesome embossed bezel, which is very reminiscent of a Yachtmaster, Rolex Yachtmaster, but obviously very different font, sort of gothic. I really like it. I think it's really cool. The reference of this is the SRPE71K1, quite a long reference, and inside here is the 4R36. You can see it comes on its Seiko bracelet, box and papers and all spare links, and exhibition caseback, as you'd expect with Seiko, showing off their movement. Which is a very good movement. You can't really go wrong with it. Now, let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go. I mean, that does look cool, doesn't it? 42.5mm, so bigger than what I'd usually wear by quite a lot. But, ready for this? Lug to lug of 46mm. Seiko absolutely nail wrist ergonomics. They make them wear really well despite how big the cases are, so don't be afraid. 14mm thick and 22mm lugs, as I said, paired on its original bracelet, which, as you can see, I mean, let's show it. There's barely any wear. I mean, you might see a few hairline scratches here and there. To be honest, I can't even capture that. So there you go. Really good condition. Save yourself a little bit on the retail, actually quite a bit on the retail, and save yourself on the cheapest next you can find, and get this one. And last but definitely not least, a very affordable, likely ladies, Hanowa tank. And finally, a watch which I think is really interesting, and it's under £100, so very affordable. I like to get a few of these in every now and again. Now, I found this watch online, and it wasn't working. Now, as you can see, it says 17 joules on the dial, so it was a manually wound watch. Now, 17 joules is a pretty good movement, but it was a pin lever escapement, and it was all tangled, and it just wasn't worth repairing the mechanical movement because it still, even fully repaired, would run pretty terribly and wouldn't be very reliable. So, we have had it converted to a quartz watch. So inside here is now a quartz movement, powering, as you can see, the time through the hour and minute hand. As it only had an hour and minute hand anyway, it had no second hand, I thought it would be pretty cool to be able to bring this watch to a wearable state for under £100 with a really interesting dial. It is gold plated, there is wear to the case. You can see it's got a really interesting pink cabochon crown, which is likely just sort of plastic. I wouldn't expect anything too crazy at this kind of price point. We paired it on a brown leather strap, which I think looks really good. And it's from a brand I've never heard of, and unfortunately don't exist anymore. There's no reference, there's no serial to base on. It's likely circa 1980s, based on the movement that was inside, and the dimensions are 44 by 31mm, 8.5mm thick and 18mm lugs. So whilst I said at the start it could be a ladies watch, you know what, I feel like a couple of gents out there could very easily pull this off. Let's show it on my wrist, as well as putting a photo of it on a lady's wrist so you can see, but there it is on my wrist. I mean, a gent Gent could totally pull this off if they wanted this kind of aesthetic. So there you go, the final watch of the drop. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's drop. Another incredible selection, one I am incredibly proud of and very happy to bring, from affordable to everything in between, as we try to specialize in here at Guild Watches. You guys and girls are keeping me incredibly busy. Keep that up, I do appreciate it, and do keep sending in your watches that are for sale. Submit that form and I will definitely get back to you. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Kibble Watches. We showcase the watches early there via our stories, so keep an eye out on those, because you get the chance to buy things before they even come up for sale anywhere else. For example, we just sold a really cool vintage Seiko that we put on the stories, and within about 30 minutes we had 2 people say they wanted it, and one of them is now going to be the lucky owner of that watch. And again, that's within 30 minutes of that story, which is insane to think about, but thank you guys very much for that quick reaction. As always, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, and we will see you all in the next one. Keep safe out there, keep well, and we're going to be out of this lockdown soon. I can't wait.